Welcome to Dropping In, a podcast of storytelling and interviews with your host, Winter Olympian Mercedes Nicoll.
Thank you so much for dropping in today. This is series 15, if you can believe it. We are dropping in today. Thank you for coming back. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for dropping in. This is February 9th, 2026. We are currently into the swing of the Olympics, hence my red outfit, if you're watching. This series is about goals. They give us direction, but they can also test us. Goals aren't just about winning medals or hitting milestones. They're about learning how to keep yourself motivated when motivation dips. Sometimes our plans can change or life can throw us curveballs. In this series, we drop in with athletes, Olympians, and change makers to unpack how goals are set, reset, and sometimes completely rewritten. You never know where your path is going to take you or your journey. Get ready to laugh, listen, and learn from some real experiences as we drop in. Let me introduce the next guest that we have. Long before canoe sprint was on the Olympic map for women, she was paddling at the age of 9 in Mississauga, Ontario in 2006. She steadily climbed the ranks, winning junior world medals and establishing herself as a force. 10 years later, in 2016, she won her first solo World Cup gold. Tokyo 2020 was the first Olympic Games to include women's canoe events, where she raced to a bronze medal for Team Canada. A month after those games, she became a world champion. Grinding her way to qualifying for her second Olympic Games, she and her partner secured a spot for the Olympics at the 2023 Canoe Sprint World Championships, where they won bronze, amongst other World Cup podiums along the way, including the 2023 Pan American Games, where they won gold. And this is super cool. She was given the honor of being Team Canada's closing ceremony flag bearer. At her second Olympics, the 2024 Paris Games, she brought home gold and bronze. You heard it right. 2 medals at those games. She's not done paddling because in 2025, she set a world record at the Canadian National Trials in Montreal. I have the pleasure of sitting on the Canadian Olympic Committee Athletes Commission with her. Now I'm ready to introduce this friend, paddler, world champion, Olympic champion, record setter, and proud Canadian is about to drop in. It's my pleasure to welcome Katie Vincent. Okay, that's a mouthful. You've done a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
It's so nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Now, on dropping in, we have 10 rapid fire questions that are never rapid. It's so the listeners get to know you a little bit more. Are you ready to drop in?
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the easiest one. Are you ready? Where in the world are you today?
I'm in Mississauga, Ontario.
Oh, still in Mississauga. Nice. Number 2, are you an early morning paddler or a sunset session?
Early mornings for sure. Yeah.
Is that how training normally goes for you, early?
Yeah, typically we would, our first session's usually around like 7:38. So not like crazy early, but like
Mhm.
just I really, especially when it gets colder and the sun comes up a little later, I push my I hit the sun hitting up, then it goes like 8:30. It's like if it's dark, I'm not into it. Like
Totally fair.
yeah.
I hear you. We had to snowboard in New Zealand one time. When we went up, the moon was still out. And I was like, this is not my kind of snowboarding.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, lake, river, or ocean. What's the dream place to paddle?
Lake is probably the most ideal because there's
Mhm.
no currents and they're typically likely more protected.
Yeah.
But yeah, I paddle on
Okay.
a river every day though, and I don't mind it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just, yeah,
But prefer the lake.
yeah.
Okay.
It has to be a nice lake.
Like a glass. Like, do you want it to be glassy?
Yeah. Or
Same.
depend if you're going one way, like the wind is with you, right? You want to be pushed down.
Okay.
It'll tailwind. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. Do you have a go-to hype song before a race? Is that something you're doing? You're listening to music or no?
I'm not a big like music listener like pre-race. I'm mostly
Okay.
just more of like a not super chatty, but just like I'd rather just be chilling. I think I'm
Okay.
too stimulated. But I would say if I were to like go do an all out test right now, it would be Golden by K-pop Demon Hunters.
Okay. Nice. I like that.
Yeah, just a pure banger. Yeah.
Okay, number 5, if you could instantly master another sport, what would it be? And I'm not going to, I don't think you're gonna choose pickleball, but you could, because 'cause we've played pickleball and that was pretty fun. A sport that you would master. What would you
I
master?
think it was clear that pickleball wouldn't be one I would choose, but um, um, okay, if I could pick, like, I mean, I feel like hockey would be pretty cool. Like,
Okay,
I don't know, especially I mean, I'm in Winter Olympic modes, and maybe I just watch them, but like, they're just so cool, and I just, imagine if you're just
totally
like one
agree.
of them,
Did
they
you
got a
grow up
cool
skating?
vibe.
Did you grow up
Pardon?
skating? Did you grow up skating at all?
I played hockey till I was like 12 or something like
Okay.
that. Like, so I know how to skate. Like, I think if you put me in there, it'd work.
I grew up figure skating, so I can relate a little bit, but in hockey, I
Yeah.
need the picks. I need the picks, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Number 6, best snack after a hard day training.
Ooh. Um, best snack after I'd say like right now I'm in like a cottage cheese and granola at the end of the day.
Cottage cheese has really made a comeback lately.
It has, yeah. I'm not a
It's the
big, like,
protein.
sweets person, so I like that it's, like, kind of a bit more savory, and then you just put, like, a little, like, I don't know, like, honey vanilla cereal on it, and then it's not too crazy, but it's high in protein, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
exactly. You need that.
yeah. Yeah.
Number 7, I'm interested to hear this. What's the most random thing you've ever seen on the water?
Um, where we raced in Serbia, uh, it was a nudist beach up near the top on the shore.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, yeah, so you're kinda just, like, paddling up and I mean, it was, like, during the week, most of it, so but it was just, like, old 70 plus leather skin, and you're kinda desensitized after the first few times, but, like, the first time it was just like, "Oh,
Look,
they're vibing, yeah, good for them, yeah."
they're just living their best lives. They
Yeah,
want
hey,
every nook and cranny tanned.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I love it that they're mostly old people. It's kinda like that reminds me of Barcelona as well. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Number 8, I mean, you just said you went to Serbia. Where's the favorite place that you've traveled to?
Uh, favorite place I've traveled to, like, like, the coolest place I've had a training camp was actually in Slovenia because we were
Okay.
paddling on, like, this really beautiful glacier lake,
Oh,
um, but I've also been to I mean, I thought Tokyo like, we went to Tokyo prior to the games, and that
yeah.
was probably the coolest place, like, that was a cool city, and we did our test event there, and we got to, like, pre-COVID experience
Yeah.
Japan, so that was, like, probably the coolest, like, trip I've been on that you're just, like we're very Eurocentric, so I feel like once you kinda do a bit like, we've done all of Europe, so it's hard to pick, like, one, but I would say, like,
Totally.
that was, like, yeah, cool outlier experience for sure.
Mm, no doubt, no doubt. Very cool. Number 9, what's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you? What does the world
Um,
not know? What do they not know about you?
yeah, I tell people I'm a really good cook, and they're always quite surprised, but I'm actually I can hold my own in the kitchen pretty well, more creative than you would think. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite dish to make?
I'm currently on a very, good exploration phase, but over the holidays, I made an incredible steak fritz, like homemade fritz, like I nailed it, and
Yeah.
so steak fritz right now is just like a nice green veg.
Wait, is the steak like with a peppercorn sauce? Do you do that?
Yeah, I did steak au poivre from scratch, yeah, I
Dude.
nailed it, yeah, yeah,
Wow. Ooh, that's good. All right.
mhm.
I know you're cooking on the next trip.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be roommates, don't worry, we'll work
Yeah.
it out, yeah.
I love it. Okay. This is the last one, number 10, the same question everyone's getting. You did get a sneak peek at it, if you remember. When a goal feels far away or starts to change, what's the one thing you remind yourself to stay committed?
I think for me, it would just be kind of enjoying the journey, right? Like, especially if it's a far away goal, like, you know, in Olympics, as you know, like it can't be tangible every day. You just gotta enjoy the one day at a time.
That's so good. And like, I think so many athletes say that in different ways. Like Marie-Philippe Poulin is like one game at a time, you know, even like tennis stars, one hit at a time. So I respect that and I appreciate that as well. And it's always hard to remember sometimes. All right, you did it. We made it through the rapid fire. Congratulations. Huge round of applause. I want to get into goals because you started canoeing at like such a young age. And how did like the discipline wasn't even in the Olympics yet. How did this all come to fruition? Where did this brainchild come from?
Yeah, so I mean, I get asked this pretty often, but I think women's canoe, especially in Canada, was always kind of part of the canoe club culture across our country. And
Mhm.
not at the like, it's nothing compared to what it is now, but at least in general, there was, you know, I wasn't the first woman to canoe at my canoe club. There has been a bit of a history there. And those are really the pioneers that like started this conversation globally.
Yeah.
Um, so I think for me, it was just where I did summer camp. It wasn't even a thought at the time because like you're so young, and you
Yeah.
know, I just go to the canoe club every summer with my friends. I just, you know, friends I still have today. So I think it just was a natural progression into a sport. And if you've ever watched us, it is a very difficult sport. And so we always say canoeing is just like, you know, it's the person that's patient enough to learn the
Mhm.
sport and like spend multiple summers just swimming and learning how to like actually do it properly. And
Yeah.
I guess during that process, I was probably figuring it out pretty quick and was getting pretty good. And you know, maybe kind of earlier in my teens, I could tell I was like pretty good at this, even though the sport wasn't fully developed yet, like kind of the depth wise compared to like men's kayak or women's kayak. I would say a lot of the stuff I was doing then would still make me really competitive today with the current state of affairs, like my
Right.
times and everything like that. Like, yes, they're probably a bit faster now because of like technology and everything. Oh no, sport always gets faster, but
Mhm.
um, you know, I was leaps and bounds ahead of where maybe like, yeah, the rest of like where I was then, like 15 years later would still be like pretty good, right? So I think that that was
Right.
just like, even though there was no like benchmarks, right? Like we didn't know what was good, right? Like it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well that's fast. And it's just like every year there's always a new record and stuff like that. So I think just like being at the forefront of that and like pushing that limit every year just like showed that we weren't just like the best in the country or in a developing sport. We were like setting a new standard.
That's so cool. That's really
Yeah.
inspiring, to be completely honest. It's just it is an evolving sport. Like, so when you started in the canoe, did you start in like I don't want to I know that your canoe probably seems normal to you, but to me when I was a child, it was big. And like multiple people are in them and like it's not as tippy as what we see you in at the Olympics. So like technology changing throughout your career, is that a thing?
Absolutely. I think the sport has changed like a fair bit. And some of that, like the boats that I would have grown up in, so like in the early 2000s, those would have been boats that were like fast in the 90s kind of a thing. And then
Okay.
like technology and regulations changed. So like if you ever go back and watch like a race from I think even like 96, they had
Yeah.
like a rule that it had to be like a certain width. So all these boats
Okay.
like look like diamonds.
Yeah.
And then by the next Olympics, they found a secret where they could just like make these like pointy things. So then like all the Sydney boys had these like pointy things, and then they're like, okay, this is ridiculous, and they just like kept lowering it down so it could be more narrow. So
Yeah.
through that like progress, it just sort of has changed. Just like, but like a canoe club is just like using old boats, right? Like used boats. So it's just like you're kind of like 10 years behind until you get like your first boat, sort of a thing. So, but
Okay.
even to that end, like boats back then weren't made for women. They were made for Mark Oldershaws and for a
Mark
hundred
is
or two.
not a small human, let's just say
No,
that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that was like, like a boat manufacturer wasn't necessarily making boats designed for people 60 or 70 kilos. They were making boats for people made like 100 kilos, right? So
Yeah.
they had like typically one smaller version that's like XL and then like XXL, which would be like so. But
Okay.
now they, since just before Tokyo, they started making boats and models for like people way smaller. So anywhere from like 130 pounds to like, and these are like good racing boats, not just
Yeah.
like beginner boats. So that was the biggest change that I got to see was like the technology actually kind of catching up to the women canoeing because they were like, it makes a huge impact. And I think you just like, you kind of see that over the trajectory of the like maybe 10 years from when it like kind of was emerging to like where it was closer to Tokyo or Paris.
Oh, so cool. I want to talk about your canoe club because you're making it sound really cool and enticing. And I want to understand how like so you briefly touched on in the beginning that you went to summer camp and then that was canoe club. Not my forte, right? I went to snowboard camp. So like give us like the details of younger you going to summer camp. Because
Yeah.
it blossomed into like this your freaking
Yeah.
bio. I was just like, "Oh, when do I stop?" Oh, no, she's keeping going. It's never ending.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Me at summer camp, I think if you ask someone that coached me back then, their adjectives would be a bit of a menace,
Nice.
hyper, but did work really hard. Like
Yeah,
I like to train, even at a young age. So,
cool.
I think yeah, it was probably more of, I had too much energy, but that's why I was in this sport that was really hard to try and maybe tucker me out. But,
Okay.
I also think that, like, at the canoe club, like, it's so social and it's not as intense as you think it is, especially at that age where you really just develop, like, it's a friend thing. Like, you're just hanging out with your friends and
Mhm.
there's just organized sport happening kind of in between the things. So, if you were to ask my friends, I was the one that would do the workout, and they were the ones that were getting in trouble for chatting too much on the rest or on the pieces.
Nice.
So, but I think that like, yeah, just connections you make that like last a lifetime, and I think that also it's like enjoyable as a kid growing up to just like have a place where you feel like a community and you're safe and I was like younger and then there's older athletes that can help mentor you and then you kind of get older and there's sort of this nice sort of passing of the torch as it is and that just
Mhm.
it's just natural to the flow of the canoe club and
Cool.
and we're also one of the sports that we also like we have our own infrastructure so like we have a building and unlimited access to this like it is the Mississauga Canoe Club that is like where we go so you kind of get this nice like place where you can always come back and there's always someone that's going to welcome you and so
I love
even if you were like I have friends that retired and like come back coaching for a summer like in between like this that and the next thing and they just love reconnecting with it so I think it's to me that's like what I love so much about my sport is there's just a sense of community it's
yeah.
not really about the medals as much as it is just like a place where people love going on the water but also just connected with that and have friendships and connections well beyond that.
So cool. I mean, community is the heart of so many things when it comes to sport as well as friendship. When you're like I'm just thinking about the Olympics and I'm like, okay, you went from like this little I don't know how big your canoe club is. I don't want to belittle it. Maybe it's gigantic. But you go from this canoe club to setting this idea in motion that the Olympics, yes, the women are in it for canoeing now. Um, Game on or like where's your head at? How did you set that goal?
I think it came sort of naturally over time. So we found out, or we knew it was official just before Rio or right after Rio.
Mhm.
I think like by Rio, but they were basically just like next time it's got to be there because our federation was mandated to become gender equal because we were actually one of the least gender equal sports
Okay.
leading into the Rio games. So we kind of I think the IOC was like, "Okay, you guys got to figure this out." So the first concern was, do they just cut canoeing because there's no women's canoe, right? And
Right.
then they just like amp up more kayak events. But canoeing is so integral, so they kept the canoeing. we had to cut some men's kayak events, which was just the way things go. And then by Tokyo, we were the most 50-50 sport you could be. So
You went from like not to
yeah,
50-50. Okay. Love it.
yeah. For context, there was 4 women's events in Rio,
Mhm.
and there would have been 4 in London. I think 3 in Sydney, and then in men's side there was like 10.
Oh, beef. Okay. Got it.
So it was like it needed to happen.
Yeah.
So I think it was like a bit of luck in the sense that I was around 20 when this 1920 when this was becoming official,
Yeah.
and it was sort of, a good time where I was still committed, and so it was a bit of luck in the sense that, like, had it been maybe Paris was the first time, like, that would have been a long time to go without, like, the support and trajectory, but it just
Right.
being, um, 4 years away, it shifted all the funding, so it was equal and all those things, right? So
Yeah.
I think that sort of being there at the right time, plus, like, those decisions being made, and then just, like, smoothly kind of transitioning to, like, the senior worlds and senior national team.
Cool. Okay. I want to talk about the small goals because um those pretty much put you on a trajectory for greatness. You talked about being in the gym, and also I do want to touch on like how you were like, you got to be in the water a lot. And I was like, yeah, probably I would fall out of that canoe, to be completely honest. I would be in the water nonstop. But when you're training at such an elite level and you're in the gym, what motivates you to like keep going and keep pushing? Are there like goals that you have in the gym that you want to achieve? Where are you at there?
Definitely. I think across, like, every aspect, like, the cool thing about canoeing and, is that we're about a 2-minute sport, in C2 and about 45 seconds in C1, so
Yeah.
we really have the balance of you need aerobic fitness, anaerobic fitness, strength, like, everything is kind of needs to be tip top, so there's a lot of little goals within all that, like your aerobic capacity, like your VO2,
Right.
your absolute strength and stuff like that. So there's definitely, like, I think over my career been able to, like, dial in on different aspects of my fitness through our daily training and just sort of like improve and enhance those
Mhm.
over time. So like for example in the gym, it's just like just getting stronger, right? And then just
Right.
setting, reasonable goals every year to try and kind of improve that to, you know,
I like
however
that.
far it can go. Yeah. So
Reasonable goals. Chandra
yeah.
Crawford and I were talking about that. Ones that are like, you're not like, my expectation is to the sky,
No.
reasonable ones that are achievable. I think that's also really important.
Yeah, and especially, like, in our sport, like, everyone has a different body type, like, I'm not the strongest when we do 1RM tests,
Right.
but I've gone from maybe 6th or 7th to, like, sometimes I can be the strongest, but this
Okay.
maybe happened once, it was a great day. But but, like, you know, I recognize that within myself that it's just, like, yeah, some people are also, like, just muscle, right? It's like they can just
True.
hop in there and lock in, so it's like, I don't think I'm weak by any means, but I don't think that, like, setting a goal to be the strongest is, like, realistic, in that setting when it's like, yeah, but, like, but in my aerobic tests, I'm, like, setting the standard, so it's like, your balance of what your strengths
Mhm.
are as a human, like, physiology, but also still trying but I'm not discouraged in the gym to not get stronger because I'm not, like, the strongest kind of a
For sure.
thing.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure. And would
yeah.
you say like I think such a great relationship of gym time, which is what most people that are fans of the Olympics don't get to see. But that's most of your life is like gym time, training, and all these things that no one sees. Does that, when you set a goal in the gym, does that correlate to a change on the water for you?
I think so. Like, I think we do like specific tests that are sort of aligned with the things that we do on the water. So,
Mhm.
improving my bench press is going to help me like be stronger, especially for 200. Like our first 5 strokes are so important, right? So it's like that that big absolute strength is going to be really important. And then having a good relative strength, so it's like compared to your body weight, is also super important because you're carrying that weight with you for the rest of the race, right? So
Yeah.
there's like you got to be fit, strong enough to be powerful, but also fit enough to carry that through.
That's so awesome. I know. It's I always needed I was the athlete that was like, well, snowboarding was pretty new to gym time when I was there. And I was like, I don't know why. Why do I need to be here? Why do I need to do the deep beep test? I don't understand. I just want to go snowboarding. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, give me the reason why this is going to help me and I'll do it. And yes, you need to be strong to take the hits and all of that for snowboarding.
Mhm.
So I just find it super interesting, like where your headspace is at when you're in the gym and how it correlates to the water. So it totally makes sense, but sometimes you need that little breakdown for your
Yeah.
own sanity.
Yeah. Well, and a huge thing for us is like injury prevention. Like we do a lot of
Mhm.
little shoulder exercises or like little hip movements that just kind of like strengthen those muscles. Cause yeah, it's like you said, it's just like, why am I doing this little dumbbell thingy? And then
Like some
you're
people
like,
watching you in the gym, they're probably like, what's going on there? And you're like,
yeah,
there's a reason for this.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
So
like
funny.
you just like bench press like 150 pounds and then you're like using a 5 pound dumbbell, like,
Yeah.
ooh. Like,
Very
yeah,
specific training for specific
very.
sports.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, the public Y did not give me a good vibe, yeah, they did not. They were really confused.
So good. I want to talk about when you're on the water. I just like want to get in your head. Is there like a crazy focus that you have or a mantra that you're saying when you're about to start or anything like that?
Like, are you taking, like, in a race?
Yeah.
Like, race day? I mean, it's mostly technical cues, I try to keep it, like keep the emotions low key and just sort of focus on the, like, race at hand.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think for me, it's like, especially in a lot of my races, it's like you kind of gotta be very strategic in your pacing. You don't
Okay.
wanna, like, fly and die, as one might say, where you, like, go too hard and get
Mhm.
excited. So,
Yeah.
for me, I'm, like, often quite conservative in the first half of a race, and
Yeah.
then once I get to that point where I'm like, "Okay, I'm good. I can assess where I'm at," and then, like, take put everything out there in the end. So it's like my coaches got when I first started working with him, I think he was, like, a little bit like, "Oh, what's going on?" And then he learned that it's like, okay, we can be like he knew I was doing it, like, on purpose, like, "Okay,
Cool.
just be strategic, be smart, like, stay competitive, and then, like, last 150, like, take off," which was also how he raced, so once he realized I could execute it the same way, it was a good bonding
Yeah.
moment.
That is a good
A lot
that
a lot less conflict after that.
you're like, "Are we on the same page? We're on the same page? We got this."
Perfect, let's continue, yeah,
Nice.
so,
Um,
yeah.
That's cool. I do let's talk about coaching a little bit. I didn't always have, like, the best relationship with my coaches, and I feel like that is really important if you want to thrive in the elite environment. Would do you, like, say your goals out loud to your coaches, or so you are on the same page?
Yeah, we actually
Yeah.
do. We do have like an and it every athlete like on our team, we have like an individual development plan or something like that.
Yeah.
Call them IDPs.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has like we go through the goal of each component of our like our fitness and
Yeah.
our results. So, your kind of ultimate goal of the season, which is like, top 3 at worlds or Olympic podium and all those things. But then it goes down and it has the data of like your aerobic tests and your strength tests and like kind of
Mhm.
comparing. And I've done it for we've done it for 4 or 5 years now and it had like it's a rolling document. So like every year we just like enter add in like 2026 and then you go through it. So it's a pretty in-depth process and you just kind of go through and yeah, like we've added pieces about like, your game plan and your mental health and like,
Mhm.
all those types of things just so like everybody's on the same page of just like where I'm at now and like, it's like what mine looked like leading into Paris versus what it looked like the year after Paris, like completely different.
Wild.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that over time and like this year's goals were a lot more aligned with like 2022 or 2023 kind of a thing. Yeah.
And that's so rad that you're able to look back and reflect. Do you celebrate those past goals? Do you take the time?
I mean, yeah, sometimes. I think like I'm honestly, and this sounds a little bit like I'm at a point, at least physically, where like everything is within the same like 2%.
Mhm,
So it's like
mhm.
we're kind of like we go through things and we're like, yep, good, next, yep,
Okay.
yep, good. Like, so it's some of the goals are actually pretty nuanced because it's like as long as I continue my volume and my training and I'm
Yeah.
hitting these metrics within like unless there's like a huge red flag, then we're just like, yeah, we're good. Like keep going. Like, as long as it's not dropping and we're kind of just like, let's keep going. Yeah.
So cool. I mean,
Yeah.
what about gold at the games? Like, did you take the time? Okay, some people don't know this though. After Olympics, at least for Winter Olympics, we still had competitions after. Do you guys have that in canoeing?
No,
Do you have
not this
races
year.
post
Or not
Olympic?
in Paris.
Okay.
We had like one race like 2 months later that was sort of a one-off. So not
Okay.
not like it's not like part of our regular scheduling sort of a thing. Yeah,
Okay. So
typically the Olympics is it.
did you have a moment to celebrate?
Paris?
Yeah.
I think about 12 months of moments, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, so it's just crazy because sometimes like you literally have a competition like right after. So you're like, okay, I'm really excited about this and I don't know when I'm going to celebrate it, but it's going to happen. So it's really good to hear that you did celebrate that because that's an amazing achievement.
Yeah, I think post Tokyo we didn't quite have that because like it was 3 years and we actually had a world championships like 2 months later and it was still
Yeah.
the pandemic. So I don't think things just weren't the same yet.
Yeah.
And then after Paris, I was like, we are enjoying this. Like this has come. Yeah.
Lessons learned from
Yeah. Yeah.
so awesome. I thank you for sharing your story with us today. I'm gonna just take a couple takeaways from our conversation, and then you're more than welcome to add to them. I personally would like to go to a canoe club. That sounds amazing. I'm very nervous to actually get into a real Olympic canoe because that's just so tiny, and I'll put my life jacket on.
Yeah.
You talked about being younger, but even at that age, though you may have been a menace or like a bit hyper of a kid, you still had that work ethic. You worked really hard. So I don't think that just comes out of thin air. I think that's practiced and the patience that you had to take up this what I see as a challenging sport, the way that you do it at this elite level. I really, really like the point you talked about connections and community. And that's exactly why I also want to go to the canoe club. And I'm like, feel like I'm selling the canoe club on people because
Yeah, let's
that's,
go.
it's like what it's about. And that's like very
Yeah.
similar for snowboarding. It's about
Mhm.
going with people, enjoying it, having a good time, but also trying to push your limits a little bit more. Um, I really enjoyed just you sharing developmental goals, be it in the gym or on the water. And then also, really important, writing your goals down, sharing them with someone, and then reviewing them and celebrating. Because I feel a lot of the time we forget to celebrate and we just move forward onto the next, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else on goals that you wanted to share today?
Dream big. Dream big. Yeah, that's a good
That
one.
is
Yeah.
a good
Set big
one.
goals too. Yeah.
The long-term
Set big
ones,
goals and then little goals to get there.
right? And
Mhm.
even like it's okay to fail because you can always get back up and try again, or figure out that that's not what you want to do and dive into something else because you've learned that lesson. Um, Thank you so much for joining us today. Let the people know where they can find you online to follow all your record-breaking times and all your water time.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Katie Vincent Canoes. Yeah. Just connect the dots in your brain and you'll find me there.
Awesome, Katie. Thank you so much for dropping in today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for dropping in today. You can find everything you want to know about Dropping In with Mercedes at droppinginwithmercedes.com. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks DJ Kenosis for the music and my mom for the intro voice.